Hi everyone, my name is Miriam and I wanted to share my infertility and loss journey with all of you. So my husband and I were married in 2012 and we decided we were going to wait a few years to get pregnant. I was in college and I wanted to finish school. And it was around late 2013 that we decided to start trying. And I got off birth control a year before, and my cycles were very long. It would take me about anywhere from 40 to 65 days to get a period. And I knew very little about getting pregnant or how any of that stuff worked. And so for me, I didn't really know anything was wrong. I just knew that it was just taking a while. And about a few months into that, I started tracking ovulation and all of that stuff that goes with that, and determined that I am a very late ovulator and I have a very small luteal phase, which is the time between when you ovulate and when you get your period. So with that information, I tried to track my ovulation a little more. I tried the BBT, and I tried ovulation sticks, and I mean, you name it, like I was tracking it. And it just wasn't really happening for us. It was taking a long time, but it was a much faster than our second time around, which I'll get to. So after a little while of that, we did end up getting pregnant, and I was thrilled and I was naive. And I announced it to a lot of people and we were really excited. And then at our 6-month appointment, we found out that the baby did not have a heartbeat. And that was absolutely devastating. I was, younger at the time and very naive, and I didn't know, I knew that miscarriage was a thing, but I didn't know how prominent it was. And at the time, I didn't know anybody that had gone through a miscarriage. And so for me, it was very lonely. I had my husband, but I didn't really have anybody that could speak into the loss and come alongside me and love me through that and support me through that. And so my body was not expelling the baby on its own. And so I had to take a medication that forced a miscarriage. And that night was like a big life turning point for me. It was very painful emotionally and physically, and I knew from that moment that getting pregnant and staying pregnant was not as simple as a lot of people had let on. People believe that, getting pregnant is easy and you stay pregnant. And that was my belief and that was my thought process when I went into it. And it was a harsh reality for me. And it was really, really hard on my relationship with God. I was angry and I was confused and I avoided God. And it was just really hard on my marriage as well. So fast forward a couple months, the doctor gave us the green light to start trying again. And I got pregnant fairly quickly with my son, Blake. The pregnancy was very uneventful, which is good. And he is a very rambunctious, very happy little boy. And so I assumed that the second time would be easy as well. So when Blake turned 1.5 years, we decided to start trying again. And it was the same thing. I had very long cycles. I ovulated very late in my cycle, and I became pregnant a couple months into trying, and we also lost that baby before we could even make it to the first ultrasound. And I learned that nearly 75% of pregnancies end in a miscarriage, and most of them are before women even know they're pregnant. And so for a lot of people, searching things and Googling things is harmful to their mental health. And for me, it was helpful because I didn't know anybody really that was going through what I was going through. And I felt very alone and very hopeless. And so for me, finding hope from people online was just a beautiful support system. And knowing what I know from our first pregnancy and our first loss, I felt more equipped with my relationship with Christ and how to move forward with that and how to trust him in those moments. So after that miscarriage, it was about 8 months or so after that, and we decided to go see a fertility doctor and figure out maybe what was going on with my cycles. And we went to a fertility specialist in the area, and he ran a lot of tests and found pretty much nothing wrong with me. He just said, it's just dumb luck, I guess, that you're having these losses. And so he said that we needed to get my husband tested. And after that, we found that my husband had severe male infertility, and we were given a less than 1% chance of conceiving naturally. And he told us that our next step was IVF. And fortunately for us, my insurance at the time covered a lot of IVF, and so we decided to move forward with the process before that insurance termed, which was only about a year later. And in the meantime, we were doing IUIs, but my husband's male infertility was so severe that the doctor basically said it's pointless. And so we received all the medication for IVF, all the injectables, everything that you need. We did all the tests, we went to all the classes, and I just really felt a nudge from the Lord saying that we needed to continue trying IUIs. There was no facts behind it, there was no reason to do it, but I just felt strongly from the Lord that he was calling us to do another IUI. And it was that cycle that we ended up getting pregnant with our daughter, Eleanor. And she is a beautiful blessing to us. And she is the catalyst for my heart for women who go through infertility and loss. And while my story is very common, and it's nothing really out of the norm of a lot of women who go through infertility and loss, and while my story actually has a beautiful redemption from it and 2 beautiful children from it, I want all of you women out there to know that you are not alone in this moment. And the pain and the loneliness and the hopelessness that you are feeling, it is something that is not lost on any of us who have walked that. And we are with you and we stand with you. And more importantly, the Lord stands with you. And I want you to know that it is okay to be angry. It is okay to yell at God. It is okay to journal your thoughts and wrestle with God in those moments, because he wants us to wrestle with him. And in those moments of pain and hardship, that is where the most beautiful fruit is grown. And while some of us may never hold those babies that we lost, we will see them in heaven, and God is taking care of them for us. And so I just want you all to know that your identity is not driven by your pain and your suffering. Your identity is in Christ. And what we do with that pain and suffering really dictates our life and dictates our relationship with Christ. And in him there is hope, and in him there is love. And I hope that you all feel loved and cherished this week. No matter what you are walking through, no matter what pain you are facing, no matter what beautiful fruit has come from your story, I just hope you know that you all have a story, and it is beautiful, and it is God's story. And we are called to share it with others. And so this week, I hope that you feel called to share your beautiful story with others. And I just love all of you, and I will be praying for all of you this week. And I just really hope that we are a beautiful support system for you. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you for letting me share.